All right, what's up, Brew Crew? Welcome back to Shedding Your Skin, episode 43. So, as always, support USR. They fight for our rights as reptile keepers. I am a bronze member, as you can see up in the corner. I'm not going to bring up the graphic to blow up my face. So, if you are shipping reptiles for the first time, please go to Redline Shipping and use the code Robin60. Good for 2 shipments, 60% off the retail rate for FedEx. All right, so let me see who's in the chat. We got Stan from Sea of Serpents. Thanks for tuning in. Everything's good. It's Saturday, day off of work. So yeah, Stan again saying, what's up, Tommy? You got Eric B. What's good? He's early. I'm early, or I'm on time-ish. So what's good? Yeah, happy to be here on a Saturday again for you guys, even though it's a gloomy day out here. Rudy, thanks for tuning in. Let's see who else we got. We got Rob M. Thanks for tuning in. And we got Ken from LMK. All right. Oh, missed one, Tammy. All right. Thanks for tuning in. All right. That's it. That's all I'm going to shout out for now. I'm going to bring out my guest. It's Tommy from Exotic World of Geckos.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. So for the people that don't know who you are, just give yourself, a brief introduction, who you are, where you're from, that type of thing, and then we can
Okay.
into it.
So my name's Thomas, and basically I've been into reptiles like my whole life. Like I used to keep when I was younger, but then when I got older, I got in some trouble. So and I just like been out 4 years basically trying to do the reptiles again.
All right.
Yeah.
So,
Like,
I mean, what was that first thing that initially got you in?
I'm originally from Bronx, New York, and I used to have like my older brother used to have like iguanas and like different animals too. But then I used to watch like Animal Planet and stuff. And then when I moved to Florida, I actually started herping with some like kids in the neighborhood. But I didn't really know what it was. But then when I got older, I started researching, and then I found like the whole reptile hobby, and then started going to shows and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome. Everybody's got like their story. Back to like the whole herping thing. when I was a kid, it'd be like flipping rocks or whatever.
Yeah.
You're just looking for anything. It's like, oh, hey, I found a salamander. And that stuff's exciting. And I wish more kids would like do that. I know in certain areas it can be a little dangerous.
Yeah, a little dangerous. Yeah.
What's around there? But up here in Pennsylvania, we only have 3 venomous snakes. One you'll never see ever. Really.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always exciting, right?
Mm-hmm.
I found a snake, and it's probably like, for the most part, it's like a garter snake or something like that, and it's gonna be musky. And
now I found a black racer like a week ago, but this one I found like it's home. Like it actually has a whole like it actually like have his own like house or like cave, like the own whole like a location. So he probably still there.
That's cool, man. I found pretty much what's in abundance, but there's certain gems up here that's like I would love to find.
Yeah.
And not touch and pick up, just be like, here, I got a picture.
No, yeah, so I just take pictures. I don't touch no. Nah, I don't touch venomous.
But yeah, I mean, it's always like exciting, to get in that way where you're outside herping, being involved in nature, and then so what got you into more of the stuff that is what we would call exotics?
Okay, so like the breeding part was I got on YouTube. I was 16 and I started putting like ball because I wanted a ball python, and I was living with my sister, and then we went to the White Plains show. I got a ball python. Then I seen some breeders there, so I went on YouTube search, and that's when I seen like Kevin McCurley, Brian Barczyk, and Ralph Davis videos. And then I started, but I never really had them. And then I used to be on King Snake, just like looking at all the morphs, but I just never. I was young, so I didn't have like money to get into, like breeding because you need racks, you need a bunch of stuff. So.
Yeah, man,
knowing about it,
it's incredible to see. Like, since I'm going to be 35 in March, so a lot of the stuff came up when I was a child, right? As far as the hobby evolving. So I was there to see like albinos be crazily priced, and things like that.
Yeah.
In almost every type of animal, like an albino corn snake is expensive.
Yeah, like in the pet shop,
And there were like a handful
albino
of
ball
morphs.
python, albino corn snake. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so when I was a kid, I had an albino corn snake, and that was really cool. But I have no clue, or I had no clue at the time. My parents finally told me how my parents found a snake breeder. So we had one of those crazy exotic pet shops that had like everything. I think at one point they had an ocelot.
Oh yeah,
Thank you, Pennsylvania laws. But apparently they talked to the guy. We're looking for something for me to have as a kid, and he hooked me up with a local breeder, which in the '90s that was sort of like hard to figure out because we didn't have social media.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it was exciting to get in, and I went to that pet store all the time like it was my zoo. It's the only place we could get frozen rodents at the time to feed the dang corn. But I mean that was just so cool. And now everybody coming in like past couple of years, it's you got more. You got all this social media and YouTube stuff. It's like wow.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, I mean I took a break for a little bit when I was in college, and just that 5-year period where I wasn't heavily invested or looking at the stuff, just the amount that it's changed has been incredible.
Yeah.
So with that being said, what got you into like geckos specifically?
Okay, so I got into geckos. So I was really I felt like I was more like a snake because I had a ball python, then I had a boa constrictor. But I was like 15. But when I came to Florida, my parents didn't really like I was living with my sister. Then I moved back to Florida, and then my parents didn't really like snakes like that. So when I started going to the shows, I started looking at leopard geckos, and then I started researching, and then the tangerine leopard gecko. That's what got me in.
Nice.
Like there was this guy named I'll Be Too Cool Reptiles. And I used to go to the shows like Daytona, Orlando, and he had like the K, he just had like the set like all the orange like to the tail, like he was like that's where I found out like line breeding geckos for the color and different genetics, because you could breed them for like for the like personality or better eaters or like bigger or like for different things, just not the color.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly different from what me being a ball python guy for the most part. The genetics and stuff in leopard geckos and most geckos and other lizards, it's completely different from what we're dealing with. So I mean, there's definitely some cool stuff, but like the odds of hitting stuff, and it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
And sort of trying to bring that over to ball pythons. There's a lot of polymorphism and things like that.
Yeah.
So I'm probably going to be a little bit dumb since I only have like one potential project in leopard geckos, the raptor stuff and its potential. But yeah, so you got in based on that orange, gecko.
The orange and the bell albinos too.
Okay, cool. So with respect to the leopard geckos, is bell albino a recessive trait where everything you breed in that is going to be?
No, you breed is going to be het.
It's going to be
if you breed a bell albino to a non-bell albino, you'll get het bell albinos.
Okay, so that's one of the
you can't breed the albinos together. The 3 different strains, you can't breed them.
Okay, so that kind of works like the exanthic stuff in ball pythons.
Yeah, like you got different lines, you got VPI.
Okay, cool. But yeah, I mean, there's, I believe, far fewer recessives in geckos.
Yeah,
it's mostly lines.
Yeah, like lines, and I think the max no is a codominant. Yeah, you breed a max no to a normal, you could get some max nos.
Okay, yeah. So it adds a whole different thing to us.
And then you do the max no to the bell albino, then you'll get max nos that's het bell albino. Then you breed them back, and then you get a max no bell albino.
Yeah, so I mean, it's definitely different. I mean, we obviously breed for.
You also want to make sure you put like the right animals too. Like like look at them, think like they're gonna make something. Just don't put something to
So when you're looking at these, potential projects, different animals, are you buying with your eyes more so than, you know, the genetics or, lines involved?
I'm at first I'm buying like what if I like if I say damn I like that, then I'm gonna look into it and see if it's like if it does have lines or who it's coming from, stuff like that.
Because that's something I've noticed in lizards. You have like almost a lineage like we have with dogs, right? You
Yeah.
have like something name something to this name something. It's their product, and then
Yeah.
trace the family tree down. I mean, I think that's cool and certainly interesting, but it can be like, for me, it's like, well, what's it making at the end of the day? I don't necessarily
Nah, yeah,
care where it came from. Is it going to make cool animals?
yeah. Yeah, after a point, I don't really like, like you got like 10 generation, the great grand, like I
Yeah,
don't know. Yeah.
for me, I apologize if I offend any lizard and gecko people out here.
Me too.
It's like you're getting to the point where it's like dogs, and even with
Yeah.
dogs, it's still like I don't necessarily care.
Mhm.
um,
Yeah,
but that's
yeah,
my opinion. But yeah, I mean, it's nice that you've gotten into something that is popular, easy to take care of for the most part, right? Husbandry requirements are pretty simple. So comparatively speaking to other species, right?
yeah,
Nocturnal animal,
yeah,
they'll lick their calcium
yeah,
supplements and things like that. Eats crickets,
yeah,
pretty easy to handle as well. They can drop their tails, but then it happens with most
yeah.
geckos. They grow them back though, unlike crested geckos.
Yeah,
I just I don't know, for something about leopard geckos just always called to me. Whether it's
yeah,
they're just their derpy faces or they're
yeah. They always smiling. Like
yeah,
I don't
right.
feel. I just hold. If I feel bad, I just hold the gecko and just,
And
it's good. It feels
and they're
good.
generally not gonna fly off or run
Yeah,
away like crested geckos, some of these other more arboreal geckos. Um, not to take away from proper husbandry and things like that. It's just leopard geckos always seem to be they're always good to be pets,
hmm
in my opinion.
yeah,
I've
and that's
had
why I think like the market is like because it's a lot of like they are good beginners, but I would say like if you don't want a leopard gecko, don't get one. But if you want one, get one. But they are like easy to like I had tegus, like I had one tegu, so it's way different. I don't
yeah,
want to, yeah, we
exactly.
don't want to get nothing twisted, but it's cool though because they do have morphs, and it's like if you get into the hobby, it is cool just to you don't have to produce 1,000 of them, but get your feet wet is cool.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say anything's like an entry level animal type of thing, right? Because it sort of downplays the care and stuff that goes into all these things that we have. But for say if I had a kid, right? Let's say they're 7, 8, and I was looking for them to get a first pet. That's something that I would say, yeah, they are.
Yeah, but you still gotta
Yep. Yeah, worry
like
about it, and
supervise. But
yeah,
I would though, but I would still supervise.
yeah.
But
So
you
I
still
mean, for me,
gotta,
they're handleable. They're for the most part really docile.
yeah,
Sort of like some ball pythons, but you know, it's one of the ones that I recommend just because I don't want to say it's easy, but
nah,
it,
yeah,
it
it's easy compared to other ones though.
right,
Yeah,
right. There's still the level of responsibility, and kids
yeah,
have
you
pets
still
at a
gotta
young
take
age.
care of
It's,
them. Yeah,
it's the parent's pet and
yeah.
responsibility at that point.
But
I
once
don't
they
want to.
get older to like realize like I gotta give him water, like give them water, heat, like they understand that part, then they good.
Right. So I have friends that have kids that have their pets, but ultimately mom and dad are the ones really taking care of them. But they're also showing the kid this is we're feeding this animal today, we're
Mhm.
feeding your buddy or whatever. Um, and I just think some of these are a lot easier to do that with than something that might have a temperament or
Yeah,
might be a little bit more fragile. I mean,
like
like you talk
like
about
the
like
green iguana.
it definitely cool gets big and
Yeah,
has a can
I
have a
was
temper.
like 6 years old playing with them.
But yeah, I like to see people that come in with more diverse stuff than just ball pythons, because
Yeah,
I feel like everybody and their brother, sister, cousins, we're breeding ball pythons. So to get into geckos, that's really cool.
yeah,
And for me, this is a lot about learning more about leopard geckos, even though I've kept them for 20 years. I don't know that much about the breeding side of them, other than that I produce some duds. So, having Tommy on here to talk about it, and, he's done his research, projects, things like that. This is also helpful to me to not have a ball python breeder where, we're talking shop normally, and talking about these projects.
yeah. Like I'm no disclaimer. I'm no expert, but I just I just did what I love to do. So I know some things, but if I don't know it, I'll point you to the right direction.
Right. So, then what year did you start getting the animals that you're looking to produce or
Now,
breed?
last year was it last? Yeah, I think
Okay.
it's like last year or second year. No, I just moved back to Florida. So 2 years. I've been on it two
Okay.
years. And then now I'm getting on the YouTube and just, meeting people and stuff like
Nice.
that.
Nice. So you're building your brand and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I've noticed you in a lot of chats. I've noticed you in my chats. It's just, and you're liking, sharing, all that stuff. So, I mean, that kind of support is awesome when you're, just getting your name out, that people, know you now.
Yeah.
You've been on, a couple different shows and panels. And that's awesome. That's a great way. That's what most of us did to try to get our names out there. So,
Yeah.
I know last Saturday, a week ago, we saw some cool leopard geckos that you showed
Mhm.
off. And given that most of us don't have cool leopard geckos, we got ball pythons, and we can talk about that for ages. It's nice to see something different.
Yeah. Yeah, I like all different type of reptiles, but the thing is, I'm dealing with space. You want, you know, you just want to be able to, take. Because I had when I was 15, I had like 40 animals, and I was like 16. So I kind of know like it takes time.
Oh, definitely. And space is, ball. For instance, like ball pythons are taking up more room
Yeah,
than you see on my screen. But leopard, other species can live in smaller environments and things like that,
yeah.
or are more sort of manageable in a confined
I
space.
think I think like ball pythons and leopard geckos, they got like the same amount, kind of, because well. A little bit. Like the leopard geckos, like one, they be good in like a 28. Like a
Okay,
like a
the
40,
FB
30
28.
gallon, like 30, 40 gallon.
Yeah, so I have mine in some old aquariums that are certainly big enough, but it's sort of that was the stuff that was left over
Yeah.
from
I keep
years,
some
years
in
ago.
fish tanks as well. I just got 2 more fish tanks, and then I got the tubs.
Yeah, and I put my younger geckos in my ball python hatchling rack just because the temperatures were
Yeah,
comparable,
it's kind
and
of the same.
um, you know really around 90 degrees isn't gonna.
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking at a nocturnal animal.
Yeah,
Uh,
it don't get no more than 90. I don't put them any. I let maybe in the summertime it might reach 90, but I keep it like
yeah,
88, 89 for my leopard
yeah,
gecko.
yeah. So if you're keeping ambient all the time, here the way I keep them now, they have a night drop.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's whatever. I think it can get down to like 67 in here.
Yeah, that's good.
But they're mostly sleeping all day, and the heat
Yeah.
is just on there to mimic sort of what they deal with naturally, where
Mhm.
you know they have heat, light, sunshine during the day.
Yeah.
I try to do that with every animal, try to mimic what their natural environment does.
Yeah.
And I think I have something on my phone, because I have everything automated, where I can set up the lights to come on with the sunrise and sunset.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to do that for certain animals, because that will trick them into like a cycle, get them sort of acclimated to not being where they live. But I mean, I
Yeah.
think that's cool. So before we get into heavily detailed into the leopard geckos themselves, being that they're insectivores, what are you feeding? Are you breeding anything to sort of supplement that? Because I know it can get expensive depending on
Mhm.
the size of your collection. As I've had multiple lizards in the past, and in the pandemic, we've been like, oh, okay, rainbow mealworms has stuff, and you buy the maximum buy type of thing. I mean, that got me on my end breeding my own dubia. So I'm curious what your view is on just the feeding aspect and providing the feeders for them.
Yeah, I would if like I only have 11 geckos right now, so I still like buy my feeders. But once my collection grows, I will definitely start breeding them. But I feed super worms, mealworms, and like as treats sometimes hornworms. Um, the silkworms are good, and sometimes when my females like when I like bred them this time, I gave them a pinky.
Okay, so they definitely are somewhat bigger to take.
Yeah,
Now,
the
when you
females.
say pinky,
I would give a female a pinky. I would never give a male a pinky because there's no point. It's just to give them like extra like fat and
yeah,
like
yeah,
calcium. Yeah,
yeah, and for most of my lizards, I'll do the same thing if they can eat them.
yeah. But I get the smallest ones.
Yeah, I don't know if any of my females can take them. I know my bearded dragon and my skink will take them from time to time, but again, it's once every couple months type of
Nah,
thing.
yeah, I just do it one time breeding. Like sometimes I don't. Like if the female looks, I just do it sometimes.
Right.
Not all
Yeah.
the time thing.
Over here, we do a variety of things. I produce duvia, um, so that's the staple. But we'll add in other feeders occasionally because I have a tarantula, so occasionally I have to get some things that don't. Uh, I don't want to be producing like crickets and other
Yeah,
things.
I bred them when I was younger.
Uh, so luckily for me, the dubia are very very high
Mhm.
up, so the smell doesn't really. Well, it's winter now, so it's not blowing down on me. So if it does smell from the veggies in them, it's up there. But it's certainly been helpful. I had far more lizards before. Bearded dragons eat a lot.
Yeah,
Now with just the leopard gecko, I have a finite size that I can feed. I mean, they're not big enough to eat a full blown dubia roach. So
yeah.
it's sort of been
Yeah,
interesting. And
I haven't fed dubias yet. I don't think I could get them here, but
I think you can do discoids, which
yeah,
is
yeah. I
different.
tried, but they're way too fast for me, man. I put it, and I had my leopard gecko that was in because I was trying to do like a little bioactive one, so I had the soil, and he just dug in the soil, and I couldn't find him, so I had to tear up the tank to find the roach.
Yeah, I don't know how I managed this. I had a Savannah monitor a few years ago, and I had been feeding it all sorts of insects, mealworm, superworm, dubia, all that stuff. Occasionally supplementing with other proteins.
Hmm.
And when he died, and I cleaned out his enclosure, there was a whole almost colony of like mealworm stuff producing under the water bowl, like under the substrate that was under the water bowl. It's like, how the heck did these things survive? So I'd assume there were some beetles they never got to that went in the substrate and reproduced. So I just thought that was funny.
Yeah, the beetles. Yeah, that happened to me before. You just see beetles out of nowhere, and what the hell?
Yeah, I like for a while I was breeding mealworms. And it's like, oh man, they're all either pupas or beetles at this point. Nothing eats them
Yeah,
because they get a hard carapace and things like that. And it's just like, oh, man, that's frustrating.
yeah.
Occasionally, like the monitor would eat them from time to time. But
Yeah, you got to put them in the fridge before they turn into that.
yeah, to slow them
Yeah,
down. That was something I didn't really realize, and then I started just using all that stuff to go fishing. Uh,
yeah,
and sometimes I'd feed something, and the beetle gets lost, or the worm gets lost, and now it's a beetle, and it's like, oh.
yeah.
And some of them have a noticeable smell, so you can kind of pull them out. Let's see. Sarah says
Oh
you
yeah,
can nerd you up.
yeah. I had got some rats for my snakes from her. So yeah, I definitely
Nice.
yeah. They are good people.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. For me, keeping before and during and after the pandemic, it was there was a short supply on feeders, and when there was a supply, so
Yeah.
I had dubia before then, but they weren't going. But anytime I could get dubia, I would be getting them in quantity, most I could, and just adding them and just starting my own. And whatever other feeders I had. I mean, I had a lot more lizards and insectivores at the time than I do now. So now it's just isopods and the dubia, and supplementing as I need to, and just for variety. But yeah, I said it's like, and everybody's like, oh, I can't find everything. Everybody's out. Everybody's out. Everybody's out. It's like, well, I'm not going to have this happen again.
Yeah.
So I just bought enough that I can start breeding my own.
That's the way to do it, though. Eventually breed your own feeders, because that's a bill, man. When you get your collection big or whatever.
So with some of these, we'll go for instance with the dubia. Obviously, I have to add some new blood from time to time. Add some other supplement my colonies. But what's nice is feeding them, and it's kitchen scraps for the the leftover piece of lettuce. Nothing's going to eat with the roots on it. The parts of the pepper you're not using with seeds and everything. A banana peel, things like that.
That's how I do it.
So once some of these insects that eat plant matter, once they're up to size and thriving, and you've invested your money into them, it's sort of almost self-sustaining. You could spend $200 to start a colony, and then the only cost is compost from your grocery bill. So I think that's really awesome that this thing's been going on. I haven't really bought anything to feed them. It's just stuff that I've had. I was buying for myself or other animals. And same with some of the isopods. And now I offer some variety, some other, the Rapashi morning wood. Just because they seem to take to that for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
So that is one thing I know you are currently propagating, because I have a colony or two from you that I got standing at Sea of Serpents auction. So
the isopods. I went to Tampa and gave Stan some isopods too.
Nice. He said he got some for his Cresties. So what got you into that? Just the ease.
Okay. So the isopods happened like last year. I went to the Orlando show with my girlfriend, and I just had like, I think I only had 2 leopard geckos. So I wanted to do like a bioactive, and I went and got the dirt, and then I went and got the isopods. So I had got the Pacelio, the orange isopods, the one I gave you.
Yeah.
So then those but what I did, I messed up, and I was watching videos on them, but I guess I skipped the part where it says to wait, like to do the bioactive first, like put the isopods in there, then put the animal in. Don't put them like right away. So what I did, I just put everything. I put the isopods, put the gecko in, and then a week later, I don't see no more isopods. So I was like, you know what, man, I'm not doing it. So then I went to another show, and I got more isopods, and I start keeping them in the container, and then they just start breeding, and then every time I go to a show, I like to pick up like a new species.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I have 3 different ones right now. I don't know if my dwarf white ones are gonna take off. I can't see.
No, I think they are. I heard very good things about those.
But I've noticed that every time I've reseeded a bioactive, whatever's in there is eating them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, you won't eat any other insect I put in there anymore. For my crested geckos, it's like, but you'll definitely eat the isopods that are supposed to, help me clean your enclosure.
Yeah, so I'm just like growing numbers, and then like if somebody wants some, give it to or like later on when I like move and have more space, like do bioactive cages.
Nice.
Not only leopard, but other species too, because I want to get more species too. I just don't want like 300 of the one thing. I like 10 of these, 20 of these. Or maybe not like that, but
they definitely can propagate pretty quickly. Yeah. Just leave them be. The first time I was keeping them, I noticed it's like, oh, I have a bunch. Let me have this, or take some out, and I'll sell it to you. And then when I went back to look at it, I was like, man, I just killed my colony.
Yeah, something. Yeah,
because there wasn't enough to keep it sustaining. Now I have,
yeah.
I don't even want to count hundreds.
Yeah, I like to like once they like grow like you have more than 100. I like to take some out and put them in another bin and let
Yeah,
that grow, and then but don't take a whole bunch out at one time. Just
yeah. I definitely noticed that. I take a handful, start a new colony type of thing,
yeah,
because eventually they'll overrun, these little
yeah.
tunnels.
As long as you have at least one male, one female, you're good. It's gonna, but it takes time. Though.
Oh yeah, and I think again, I was naive and I thought it's like, okay, I have a lot here. Let me put this in this other one and get it going for you, and then you can use it for bioactive or whatever. And it took too many, and
Yeah,
lessons learned. So now
yeah,
whenever I buy them, they just sit for a couple weeks, months, and I started with 10 dairy cows, and now I have probably like 100 in there. I don't
yeah. I'm
know.
glad they're doing
I
good.
got a couple from you, and
Yeah, that's good.
just
That's good.
there's got to be like 20 some adults in there, and then
Yeah,
everywhere you're looking, it's the little ones that are coming out. So
yeah.
um,
Now it's pretty cool. Like they be little, but they look exactly like the adults, but they just little version.
yeah, and they propagate pretty quickly.
Nah,
So
yeah,
um, now that I sort of know more about them, it's like, okay, now I can just you know move the adults to just grab a handful of the substrate, and I know I'm going to have stuff that's going to be growing up, and I just toss that in, with my crested geckos every once in a while because they're tiny enough
yeah,
that they go unnoticed and go under leaf litter and all that stuff. But
yeah,
it's definitely a nice supplement. To have in your enclosures, one for the cleanup crew, and also the bigger ones can get eaten when
mm-hmm.
whatever species can find them.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's cool that you do that as well. I just wanted
yeah,
to talk about the feeders, that aspect, sort of before we get into leopard geckos,
mm-hmm.
because that's always something that you need when you keep these animals. You always need something to feed them. If you can produce it yourself, it's ultimately better if you can deal with the smells.
And I do use the calcium D3 with the Repashy vitamins,
Okay,
and
so
I dust them on the worms.
nice. So you're using both supplements, the
Yeah,
vitamin D
yeah.
one
But
and
I'm also
calcium and
hearing
their multivitamin.
yeah, I'm also hearing some things about using something called Bionate and bee pollen, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm still researching on that, but I might use that.
Yeah. So I'll do the calcium D3 and then the Herpavite.
Yeah, but
That stuff's been around forever. I do it every couple of times with the leopard geckos. I just sort of leave it in the little dish they have in there because they'll go lick it.
Yeah.
Some lizards do. Um,
You just don't want to overdo it, like give them too much.
right, especially
Yeah,
with vitamins, things like that.
yeah,
Um, like for most, it's an occasional. Okay, every X amount of meals they get this. Every little bit more they get that. That
yeah.
type of thing. It's not an every.
Everyday thing. Yeah,
Yeah. So for the crested, it's almost like a coating on this little bowl, right? It's
mm-hmm.
not a big stack of it where they can just get it whenever they need it. It's like, keep it within moderation.
Yeah,
And they're gonna feel when they need it, so they're gonna go over and lick that every so often. But yeah, okay. So we are a half an hour in. I don't seem like I'm rushing, but
you good,
I
man.
want to make sure I get everything in.
Yeah,
Before my dog goes crazy again.
yeah,
Since if you've been watching my show the past couple of weeks, she has figured out that I'm unavailable at this time and lets me know about it. I want to make sure we get everything that I'd like to cover discussed.
mm-hmm.
So, with the getting into the leopard geckos, you mentioned that Tangerine was the morph line that got you drawn in. So you're up to 11 now.
Mm-hmm.
What's your ratio of male to female?
I think 7 4. I got basically 2 breeder males, and then one male, but he's not he didn't breed this year, but he's like next time I breed he'll be ready. But like I got 4 males in total and 7 females.
So when you were buying them, are you looking like with ball pythons? You're looking for like 1-to-3 ratio in a project type of thing, something like that. Is it similar for leopard geckos, or are you like, okay, I can use this male to these two? It's sort of a different logic behind that. Given that they produce
you could
more
use you could use that as well. Like you get 4 females, 1 male, but me personally, like I didn't want to get too many. Like if I get 1 male and 4 females for this project, but then if I want another project, or if I want to combine two different ones together, I don't want to have too many. So
right. You don't want to be overproducing.
so I just pick like a project I want to do and just get some animals that I could, the babies, I raise them up, I breed some back or breed some to other, unrelated and stuff like that.
So with that, are you looking for like a male that can go to 2 projects, and then you can sort of loop back in, sort of?
Like I want my male to get a certain, like to produce a certain combo to go to something else, or have a certain look. I'm trying to get a certain look and then put it to something else.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, so like I said, I don't know if I said it backstage or here, that I have stuff that can make raptors, maybe.
Yeah.
So, ideally for me, I produce that raptor. I'd hope for it to be a male, because I think the female has more of the lines in it, if I remember correctly. So that, and I sort of swap him out when necessary.
Like you produce a better looking male than him, then
and sort of do that within the project. But then even other stuff, I hit a female, because they're temp sex. Maybe not. It all depends what I'm shooting. But yeah, I mean, you could certainly grow out a project. When you're dealing with a small gene pool, you just want to watch how much you line breed it down.
Because if you line breed too much, you could get some crazy stuff. Like I've seen some. Now I don't think I've seen it, but I don't want to go down that path.
Right, where you start seeing genetic issues come up, or eggs that aren't viable, things like that. So that's the one, and that goes for like any animal. Too much in the same gene pool, you run into an issue.
Like I want to produce like healthy animals, and then have the morph or the traits like good, but I want the animal to be healthy first.
Right. So you're not going to take a risk or something that might not be viable down the line, just because it could produce something awesome.
Just because it could produce the silver gold, something crazy stuff.
Right. So if you can hear in the background, it must be that time for my dog to say,
"No, to have a walk."
Or go outside, or
go outside, have a walk,
something like that. So with that being said, normally what I do at this point is that I'll let my guests come on, talk about their projects, within the species they work, and start to show off some animals, and then when I can calm her down.
All right.
So we're going to go ahead and do that, and I will be hopefully right back.
All right. Let's see. I always show this one first. This is the bell albino female. I call it Chicago because I got her from Tinley, from Impeccable Gecko. Miles. Yeah, the thing with the bells, they just have sensitive eyes. They have like pink eyes, but she got her eyes open right now, so I guess the light ain't messing her up too bad, but they be sensitive to the light. This is my male white and yellow Max Snow Bold Het Bell albino that I put with my Max Snow Radar female.
Hey, so what is radar?
The Radar is kind of like Raptor, but the Bell albino version. So it's like it's a Eclipse. It got the Eclipse.
So it's Bell instead of Tremper.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, the Radar is just the Bell version. Like they just call it the Radar, like the Raptor.
Yeah, I forget.
You
Like
could,
the odds of me.
you could get a gecko like this, but it will be Het Tremper and not Het Bell. But this one's Het Bell.
Okay, nice.
Sometimes they look the same, but it just has different. You gotta know what albino is carrying.
Right. So if somebody's selling you something that's just, oh, it's Het albino, ask for the line.
Yeah, you gotta know. You just can't. Oh, there's a albino leopard gecko. Because if you don't know, it's kind of hard. Like you could kind of tell, but it's gonna be a little difficult. Yeah, and he bred 2 females so far. He bred a Mandarin and my Radar female.
Nice. And I apologize for the noise about back in the background, but instead of the dog whining, she is now chasing the Kong toy.
Yeah, you're all right. I'm surprised you don't hear my dog. He's licking and stuff.
She just gets very vocal when I ignore her. Type of thing. But yeah.
But this one, I really like him because he has he's a Max Snow, but he's white and yellow too, and he has these different spots that I didn't see on a Max Snow. So nice. it's like orange, like rusty spots.
So are those little purples coming in?
Yeah, purples. Yeah, a little bit like right here.
Mm-hmm.
Right, it's a little lavender, a little bit.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, there's just certain like leopard geckos that are awesome. I like mine with pattern.
Yeah, I kind of like pattern now because there's more like different morphs that has like more pattern. Like they got the clown that's a tangerine and bold, and you could see that like pattern, and it's like orange, yellow with different pattern.
Yeah, for me, I like the pattern and color. When I look at mine, I have carrot tail. I think I forget the other line. I have them written down somewhere. It's just not a priority project for me. Be breeding them. It's if I hit a raptor, great. Maybe in the future when I have more space to devote to it. But like I said, for me, it's let me bring myself.
Yeah. So this is the Max Snow Radar female.
Okay, so definitely a bit more busy pattern.
Yeah, you see the pattern. Yeah, it's more lavender and yellow, and then like the white, and then she got red eyes.
Yeah, you can see that slightly, but that is cool. It's just something about like a gecko with red eyes. I think that's why that project interested me. That I got them years ago, and a buddy and I were buying a bunch at the same time, so we lumped, some males in with some better females.
Yeah.
But leopard geckos are definitely cool. They're not going to really fly off your hands like crested geckos or some of the other.
Yeah, you could chill with them, but you know what? Gecko is a little more chill. Like in my experience that I had, is a fat tail gecko.
Okay.
Yeah, like the one I had, I only had one fat tail, and I had like over 40 leopard geckos. But the one I had, it was just chill. Like you could just really put it on your hand and go. Like I wouldn't advise to do that, but you could pretty much go to sleep because I was just just watching Netflix and on my hand or on my shoulder here and just chilling.
Yeah. I like animals that are handleable. And less bitey for the most part. sometimes it's just a necessary evil that you have to deal with certain species. But it is nice, and I've heard some leopard gecko bites can be, or gecko bites can be deceptively painful.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. I don't think
Like it's not gonna kill. It's not gonna kill you. It just they hang on. Like they hang. I never got bit, but my dad got bit one time because I guess he didn't like. I was breeding them. Like I had them in the tank, so he come in and I guess he didn't know what I was doing, but he seen them like he thought they was like fighting. So he tried to grab it, and I was like, no, I'm breeding them, and the male bit him.
So are they like some of the other lizard species where they'll go sort of bite the female?
They hold, because what I seen they hold, and then it just dropped, and then I had to like catch it.
Okay, yeah, because I always get like when I had bearded dragons, I'm like, man, this is a beautiful girl, but that male is gonna beat the crap out of her, and she's gonna be missing some toes and things like that. Potentially,
the male could get aggressive, like to the female sometimes I've seen, but you gotta just when you breed them, just supervise. Like I was,
right.
like some animals like blue tongue skinks, like they could tear off the legs. Like you just want to be there.
Yeah, and I've noticed that in some other species that I've kept. It's I have a pair of Russian tortoises, and right now must be for them out of brewmate. I didn't brewmate them, but he's doing his head bobbing and trying to. It sounds like a Royal Rumble in there, and occasionally I have to flip him back over because he has flipped himself over trying to breed this girl that wants nothing to do with him because she hasn't brewmated and gone through her cycle yet. I also don't know the ages of them. I'm assuming they're a breeding size, but I haven't brewmated them yet. I think I'm going to try that next year when I have a cold basement and just toss them in. Throw a blanket in the tub and put them in where it's 50 degrees all the time, and see what happens. When they come out. But yeah, it's certainly funny to watch him try. It's been 3 years or something like that. Comical on my end. So with the so is the radar sort of that one that's obviously just one of your goals.
Yeah, the radar is really like I want to produce a radar, but I don't want to say a byproduct. But it's just a sweet, like it's just something else. Like that's not the main thing I'm going for.
Okay.
So the radar. So it's, what I'm going for is the white and yellow radar.
Okay. So you have lines that you're trying to produce. Like I feel like, and I say this all the time. Like leopard genetics, gecko, gecko genetics, across the board are just a whole new beast because there's so much line breeding stuff involved in polymorphism or polygenic traits.
And there's some that been lost too, like some geckos that we seen back then. You don't see them now,
right? Because they've fallen out of favor, and that color is sort of fallen off over time, and that's unfortunate. That stuff happens, but when it's driven by a pet market, a hobby market type of thing, you can sort of say, well, these aren't selling right now. I'm not focusing on that type of thing happening.
No, I just enjoy them, and I enjoy them. I like them.
So for us ball python people that normally watch the show,
I'm originally a ball python breeder. Like I was supposed to be a ball python breeder, but stuff happened. But
right,
still getting into it.
So we're pairing a couple times a year for one clutch. That's not the case with geckos. They can. Well, I'll let you explain how that sort of works.
So geckos they usually lay 2 eggs. Sometimes they will lay 1 egg, and that's usually when they are younger. So 2 eggs, you could expect like you breed them, and then like in a month. I don't want to it's not a specific day, but after you breed them, once she develops the eggs and stuff, she will be laying like every 2 weeks, like every 14 days, 12 days. And then they could lay average is like 8, like Average like 8-10. What I heard when I was younger, and that is like 15. Like usually, if you have a good female, you could get 15 eggs. But sometimes they can like double. I would say double clutch. But if you pair them like again, like you could pair them more than once, and then you could get like up to 20 eggs.
Wow.
But I'm thinking like I'm trying to not because I did that, but not all eggs survive. So I don't want to, So I think I want to keep the like egg like don't overdo it.
That's just like one cycle, not
Yeah,
count
like one
when
cycle.
when
Yeah,
they would
double clutch.
double. Yeah. So like for some calibers, they will double clutch lay two times, but that second one is not typically the best viability wise. So each cycle you're looking at them laying 4-5 times,
Like 8-10 eggs.
something something like that.
Yeah.
And some other lizard species will do the same thing with more eggs. So when you see like chameleons, bearded dragons, like those.
Oh yeah, I heard chameleons breed a lot. I didn't know they have that many eggs.
Yeah, and their incubation time's like insane.
Yeah.
So when I was starting to get into this before I did heavy research into like breeding lizards, I'm like, oh my god. Okay, geckos sound better. 2 eggs, every time. Okay, that it's manageable. There's like 1 egg box I can fill up, and each one, different dates on it. But like bearded dragons, like okay, here's 20. Oh wait, hold on, we're gonna lay another 20. And just having that many little babies at one time.
And they all hatch at the same time when they lay 20. With the geckos, you will have them hatch, in pairs.
Yeah, and they're spaced out. So I mean, just having that, it's sort of like okay for me, given the size and scope here, it's like okay, that is something more manageable since it is a secondary focus for me as far as breeding geckos of various species. I'm more focused on the ball pythons. And for me, the crested geckos are nice because I can just incubate them here.
Stan trying to get me into the crested geckos. That might be the next. I don't know. I'm just when time's right. I don't want. Yeah.
And it's definitely pretty cool. For normally the way it's been working the past couple seasons here is I will get some leopard gecko or a leopard gecko egg. That tells me to start up my incubator, and then about a month or two later, my ball pythons starting to lay, and generally it's the same temperature as far as incubation goes. So I already have it up and running when my ball pythons lay. So that's nice instead of like, okay, I got to time this right that I turn on my incubator when I anticipate ball pythons laying. Generally the leopard gecko will go before, and it's already up and running. But I do have some fish tank heaters and other thermostats, and I have a cooler that's currently outside for other stuff where I can just set the tubs in there, throw some water in there, and all the extra aquarium products I have to sort of make that sort of other type of incubator.
Yeah.
And if I get the Russian tortoises to reproduce, that's what they're going to go in, just because of the duration, temperature, things like that. But it's nice to have that backup. Luckily, leopard geckos and ball pythons can incubate around the same temperatures. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the higher temperature will yield females in the leopard geckos.
No,
males.
So
the lower for females. Higher. Okay.
Yeah, like 80. You want to keep it like 80, 81. The max is 82. You get most females. Once you start getting to maybe 83, but once you start getting to 83, 84, 85, that's like a mix. And then when you get to,
closer
you don't
to
really
9.
want 86, because once it's around there, they got something called the hot females, where it's a female, but I don't know if they just don't breed, like they don't do well.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't really know how to explain it. It's a female, but like the temperature.
The temperature messes up the development.
Yeah, it did something. Yeah, but after like 88, 89, 87, you get all males. You should.
Okay, so for me and my thing, if I'm hoping to hit that male raptor, then it makes sense with the ball pythons. But if I'm shooting for females, then obviously I have to use the other.
And when the higher temperature, they hatch faster. So the
Right.
males take they hatch out before the females. Like it don't take like I think like 40 days.
Okay.
Yeah. Usually
That's
like
pretty quick
females
turn.
go to like 48, 50, maybe 55, but after 55, you gotta be worried.
So I know for ball pythons, we get this argument between we hit day X, right? Well, nothing pipped. Are we cutting? Is it the same thing that they have with geckos, or are they generally more?
Nah, I don't think it's not like the cutting like that. Cause
You just wait
yeah,
till they come out.
I wouldn't cut the leopard only because I don't like I know the egg tooth thing. You know, with ball pythons, I get it completely with ball pythons. But the leopard geckos, I think the egg is like too. I don't know, cause I remember I cut one time when I was younger just to see, cause I'm watching egg videos. I'm 16,
Right. Right.
so I cut one and it was like a dead. It was the leopard gecko was there, but it was just dead. And so
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
thinking, damn, I cut it before it even. So I don't cut, not the leopard geckos.
Right. So I mean, I could see it happening where you have, two eggs that were laid at the same time. The one's already out and about, and it's a couple days later. You're like, okay, what's going on?
Yeah, like if it pit, like if the other eggs pit, like they got out, and this one is still like day 60, but it don't look like it looks like it's good. Like it's not like all molded. Like it looks like something in there. I would just, yeah, I probably would in that situation.
Yeah, like a little. Okay, we're gonna give you some
Yeah,
help.
just
Wait till you get
yeah,
out and
or
drink.
maybe a tickle. Even you do with tago eggs, you could tickle them.
Right, just get them
Ever
moving,
seen
seeing
that?
if
Like you tickle it, then they come out. Maybe do something like that.
But one thing I've noticed, with seeing geckos hatch and lizards hatch, is they are so much bigger than you could
Yeah,
imagine what
from
would
the
fit
egg.
in
Yeah.
that egg.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like they curled up. That you just see their head, but the head is bigger than the egg. I'm like, what the hell? How you
Yeah,
got
it's
that?
kind of crazy. Then you got ball pythons that are still, sometimes still just
Yeah,
chilling in there. It's like, all right, type of thing.
yeah,
But yeah, it's just I don't know, seeing lizards and some other animals hatch out that aren't ball pythons. It's like, wow, how the heck did you fit in there? And it
yeah,
was dimpled.
yeah,
I mean, that's exciting. So besides the radar stuff, the max snow stuff, and shooting for that yellow, those patterns and
yeah,
colors in there, are there any other projects you're working currently?
yeah. So I got the white and yellow and the max snows, but I'm not really interested in doing the super snows. Like if I do, then okay. But I'm just trying to do the white and yellows. So what a white and yellow is like it came from like a hypo. I don't know if it came from Europe, but it came from somewhere like it's just random, like it's just a random gene, like it
Kind
came
of
out
pop
of
up.
nowhere. So people start, having them, whatever, and so they look like a hypo, but they're like the tail's not orange. It's not that orange. The tail is like white, like it wipes out the orange, and it just like fades it a little bit. But when you put it with other stuff, it gives it like a nice, like I would say like a pastel. Like if you put a pastel with some, like you have like a different look.
Right, right. So it's sort of that
That, but
little
also,
bit of muted colors.
yeah, like it does something with the color, but and it gives like high white sides, like the sides. Um, but the white and yellow, there's just an issue with breeding two white and yellows together. So
Okay,
I so yeah, I heard like the Enigma. I used to, I had like a tangerine lemon. I never bred them, but I had one. But then, you find out all the syndromes and like you shouldn't breed that. But the white and
right.
yellow, they saying you can't breed the white and yellow to white and yellow, but they really don't have, like some people did it and some people do. Some people say I wouldn't do it. I just because you could do a white and yellow to something else and you still get a white and yellow.
Right, right. So I mean, from my understanding with bearded dragons, it's the same thing with like Zero and Wiro. So you can't breed the visuals to each other, but you can breed a visual to a het or het to
Yeah.
het, something like that, because the visual to visual just doesn't work. Um,
Yeah, but it's no head. Like if you put a white and yellow
Right,
to
right,
something else, you will get like a half chance. Like you get a chance to get the white and yellow.
right. So it's like, okay, we can't breed them together because they could
Yeah,
potentially think you, but I
yeah.
could throw it to another line of something else and still hit this one. Okay.
And it would be healthy because they saying like if you put two white and yellows, you will come up with a like like a enigma or no like a brain
A
like a
neurological
brain
thing.
issue. Yeah, a brain issue.
That's certainly
They
interesting.
like tipping over. So I don't really want to breed a white and yellow to white and yellow, but I do like the white and yellow bell albinos, white and yellow radars. Like I like that look.
Right. So you're
Like,
looking to sort of keep that
yeah.
on one side, male or female, depending on
Like you could have a white and yellow, you could breed it or something else, but just don't. I'm not messing with the white and yellow, the white and yellow.
Right.
If
So
I would I'm gonna make sure that I know like each baby what it is, like if it's a white and yellow or not.
right. So for me, in that instance, I probably like want one female that has it, and you can put the male to it. Because if you have the male that has it, any females that might have it and it gets washed out or something like that later down the line, and you can't notice it, and then you run into that issue. But if you keep it just on the one side, it sort of helps you mitigate that potential problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's certainly interesting.
And the white and yellow is not the lemon frost. 'Cause I don't want because the lemon frost is so something different.
Yeah, I'm hearing all these new names, all these new
Yeah,
things.
the lemon frost was like a gene that is starting to like they start breeding it and then they grow tumors. So you don't wanna even mess with that. I'm not no scientist, so if the like I like morphs and stuff, but if it's like an issue, I don't.
Right, yeah, and we see that over here with ball pythons with the anything that
Yeah, the
has
spider. Yeah,
yeah, there's certainly some controversy still breeding it, but sometimes it's been around for quite a few years, and it just almost a necessary evil, and you're
yeah,
trying
but
to avoid producing it to produce something else, and it's a
yeah,
whole different topic that people can talk for hours on whether or not to do it or to do
yeah,
it.
you could disagree or agree.
I think sometimes people have gotten into, at least on the ball python side, we have new recessive projects, things like that, and our only option to get in at an affordable level is to, well, it's got spider in it, but it's a double head puzzle clown or something like that. It's something that somebody up top is bringing as a byproduct that's sort of it's working its way through the system type of thing. To hit that a clown puzzle, but it might be spider. Okay, is that a risk you're willing to take? That's sort of the debate type of thing.
Yeah, that's what I've been looking at now because I got a double head clown pod, so I'm trying to put something like make a project around that.
Right.
Even though I know a lot of people like have clown pods, but
How do you make it sort of one worth your while, one be relatively affordable, and two have your odds be increased to hit that double visual. So it's definitely an interesting thing. And back in the day before we had genetic tests and things like that, it's like, okay, we're gonna do double het to double het, and it's like a 1 in 16 chance, and you might never ever get that. It is what it is now.
But it's exciting though. You put like heads together, like if like you put head, and then like you create something different. It's like, damn, this came from that. Like how
Right. Yeah, I just always think that lizards are certainly more interesting as far as the genetics go, and it could be that we just haven't discovered enough about it just because there hasn't been as much done.
No, I think with the leopard geckos too, a lot of people get out because they just it's like two different I don't want to say like categories, but you got like pets, like people that know like pets, like they just have a pet, like they have a leopard gecko, but they didn't like really like went out to get that leopard gecko. They just have it, so they don't really know all this other stuff. But then they go on Facebook and then they tell other people what they think they know, and then it's just and then big breeders don't really want to help. Like, not saying they don't help, but like people
try
that
to help.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like it's no, you know, it's like that.
Yeah, I mean that's across any reptiles. You have somebody that's gonna will immediately be smashing the dislike button if this pops up in their feed just because I have racks behind me.
No, yeah.
Doesn't matter that my snakes, for the most part, have perfect sheds, breed, reproduce.
Yeah.
But these are, to those people that hit that dislike button just because I have racks, let me remind you, these things live in burrows in the wild.
Yeah.
They don't live in a spacious enclosure with all sorts of stuff. So I'll get flack for that, and I don't care. So if you want to have that nice naturalistic enclosure, fill it mostly up with dirt. Have about that much at the top, and just have a big burrow that you might be able to see in. That's maybe breed rodents in there too, because that's generally where they make their homes, and then they'll move from time to time. Things like that. It's just sort of funny. I you like your pets, you want to be able to see them. I get that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we have this thing, and it's across any hobby, any industry, where it's like, I have this, therefore I'm an expert.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, come on.
Yeah.
And you have these people like commenting on people like Kevin McCurley's posts or Brian Barczyk's.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Rest in peace. It's like, okay, these people have seen and dealt with more animals in this past year or whatever than you have in your entire life and probably your entire existence moving forward. And it just, the infighting is just annoying. It's like, okay, you have 5 different pets, 5 different species. Cool.
Yeah, it's like breeding. Like if you're gonna breed, like the breeding hobby, and then the pets is like it shouldn't be, but it's like that because like first to get to the level you want to breed, you got to have the animal first. Like you just don't see you just don't go to the pet store and say, oh, leopard gecko, oh, I'm gonna breed that and start selling it to the pet store.
Right, but I mean, at the same time, some of this is to blame on the big box, pet stores, or they are, in my opinion, they're not really selling you the animal. They're selling you all the other stuff you need for the animal.
Mm-hmm.
That might be extra, unnecessary. For that animal to be comfortable and thriving, it might not need all that extra stuff. Certainly, you want to have enough space for the animal to move around, things like that. But in certain states, certain things that like to hide, you don't want them having a lot of space. Certainly, you want to have enough space for them to move. But if I put a hatchling ball python in a 55-gallon aquarium with a hide, it's probably going to be in that hide. It's probably not going to eat. There's just too much space. So it's sort of, how do we get away from that? Yeah, it's nice to look at. But I just wish we could all, sort of get along and, come to a common ground. Yes, there are pet keepers that like to look at their animals and want this nice display animal to walk into. And there are certain ones that I would think are better display animals, but they also require more husbandry, more care. Like I would love a pair of monkey-tailed skinks.
Yeah.
Right? They're mainly like if you had a bioactive monkey-tailed skink enclosure with a pair, had some vertical trees, and you can grow pothos out of it because they'll eat the pothos. That would be really cool.
Yeah, and you want to have like a family of them. Well, not family. You want a pair. Yeah.
Right. But that's a nice visual enclosure, something for people to look at. I have that, with some other animals where it's like, okay, this is a pet. This is nice to look at, type of thing. But like a ball python, I don't think is that animal. Yeah, they are stunning. Even leopard geckos. It's a lot of space for.
Yeah, they're gonna be sleeping. They're gonna go.
And they're sleeping all day.
Sleep. Yeah.
They're gonna be laid out. And okay, you're messing up its cycle by handling it during the day. Like I will touch my leopard geckos when it's time to move them around, clean, that sort of thing. But other than that, I leave them be. Same with most of my lizard species that aren't diurnal.
Yeah, I think some of them want to be like, I won't say interactive, but they more like I don't want to use the word enrichment too, but they more like not intelligent, but more like active, I guess, just more active. So they want to like run, you know what I'm saying?
And I know some of my reptile or my snake species that are, I want to say, was it crepuscular, where they're active, at dawn and at nighttime.
Yeah.
If I can get them when they're sleeping, they are much more tolerable.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm out now. Okay.
Yeah. Once they active, they out.
Yeah. But if they're active and I go in to get them, it's a completely different story than when they're kind of lethargic, not really active. So I sort of time certain things that way for when I'm doing cleanings, things like that, because I don't want to get tagged by a 5-foot boa.
Yeah.
Or whatever else might be, if it's active, if it's
yeah.
Especially if they are arboreal, something like that, if they're in their spots, leave them be.
Yeah.
You need to really know your animals, learn your animals, their behaviors, things like that. If I open a tub and I see a ball python do that sort of thing, okay, you're either hungry or you hate me. So I do have a hook that I use sometimes if I do need to handle them, where I'll give them a little little tap training type of thing. Hey, it's me. You're not getting fed. Here's a little boop on the snoot so you don't fly out at me, and then I go on my way. But other animals, you sort of have to have some conditioned behavior responses, especially when you're getting into larger animals with bigger brains, your bigger lizards, your bigger snakes, where they're actually thinking about more stuff than just where's the heat, where's my food, where's my water, where's my safe place. It's what's going on in my environment type of thing.
Yeah, well, then they might turn like defense mode too. Like some lizards do. Like I had a tegu and I had to really like train them.
Right.
I was researching on YouTube like taming your tegu, and it just eventually he got
right.
Like, not bite, not try to tail whip or none, just chill.
Right. They are. It's either learned helplessness, or it's like, okay, this thing is not this big old slightly hairless ape looking thing is not going to eat me. And I stole that from Tim over at Intrepid. Okay, this thing is not a danger anymore. I can be relaxed. But one thing I do want to note while we're talking about enclosures and this various back and forth about certain animals, things like that, is if you have anything that's generally small, going to be maybe a bird is its apex predator in its environment. Do not have it in an enclosure where you're coming in from the top. It will always end badly. Have front opening enclosures where you can go in on their level. I know for a lot of my lizards, when they, the bigger ones that I have, I will, put my hand in there, sort of like make a fist so they can't do damage if they do damage, and let them sort of crawl onto me.
Yeah, that's what I do. If it's a tank, I'll put I don't go directly like grab them, but I'll put my hand first, like in the cool, like if it's in the hot side, like go to the cool side, put my hand, or I usually like go like this, like touch the floor, and then they will come out, and then I just scoop them up, and then that's it.
Yeah, because if you're doing that, it's gonna.
They could bite you too. Like if you grab them and they feel like, oh, what is this? A bird?
Right.
They never was in the wild to know a bird do that, but still,
it's still that big thing from above.
Yeah, you don't know what that is.
And it's I had a Savannah monitor in a 55 gallon for a little bit before I got the second enclosure. Before I never made it to getting that really big enclosure because I think he was wild caught. There were issues.
Nah, that sucks about Savannah monitors because they're cool, but it's a lot of wild caught stuff.
But that was the thing. It's like, okay, he's on the other side. Put the arm, put my hand, everything in there. Let him come over. Never, handling and feeding don't go together. It's not good. I guess that's the time I got bit because I had him out. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna feed him a super worm. I'm gonna be cheeky and get this on a video. Well, I lost the worm. Next thing I know, he's on my finger, my thumb, and it's like, okay, that was totally my fault. It's like, okay, I'm gonna go play in the rodent room, and then go handle my snakes on feeding day. I'm warm. I smell like a rodent now. Sort of
monitors and big lizards. They're eaters. Like they're predators too. Like they go.
Yeah, and that is now I've been bit by a rat before because I wasn't paying attention and
Yeah.
grabbed it at the wrong spot, and that hurt. That certainly hurt. But again, it was more of a okay. It's disinfected. It's a nice little wound, but this thing. I mean, they monitor lizards do have stuff in their saliva, and most lizards or monitors tend to be slightly venomous. Same with like a rear fang snake type of thing. And man, my arm was throbbing.
Yeah.
Remember being on the phone with like poison controls, like, hey, what's going on here? I felt like I got stung by a bunch of bees and stuff, and whew, that was not a fun night.
Yeah,
but lessons learned.
Yeah, you could also like put your shirt like in the cage. I've seen that. Like you put your shirt. I did that with the table. Like you put the shirt in there. But when I tried it, I didn't really think it worked because like it was still crazy. But it was a baby though. You gotta give it some time.
Right. And another thing I've noticed, and this is, more of that calming behavior. And when mine died, it was really weird. My Savannah, I actually like a couple days before I had it out, and it was really, really calm. I, had it in a towel so I could keep him contained while still being like, okay, I'm not gonna harm you or anything. It was a really good handling session, and I was kind of surprised where the next day it was,
Yeah, that what happened to me too. My table was good. I go to feed it, and then it's gone.
Yeah, it was really stressful because it was like that the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, the thing regurgitated, which they biologically don't do. It was lethargic, so it's like, okay, we're soaking you. We got unflavored Pedialyte in there. Trying to get figure out keep it going, and it didn't make it through the morning. And it was scary and frustrating because there's no exotic vet or emergency room or anything like that to take it to at that time. 10 o'clock dinner time on the day before Thanksgiving, it just sucked. Is what it is. Lessons learned, things like that. But
nobody's perfect. Everybody gonna make some mistakes, but you got to learn from it, and then you keep going. That's it.
And another thing I've noticed with, I don't know why, is that once you get that animal, whatever it is, if it's something that's going to be around water, right? Obviously, don't take a species that's in the dang desert and stick it in a tub of water. Don't do that. But something that's going to be able, be going into pools to, soak and shed, things like that. I've noticed when you put them in the water, in a little tub to soak, they tend to be really, really, really calm.
Yeah.
Even my blood python, that can be a total butthead, and it's in shed right now. So probably tomorrow I'm gonna give him a nice soak, so it sort of make sure he gets it all off. But it's probably gonna be one of our better, handling sessions, things like that, just because nice, warm, relaxed type of thing. And I've just noticed sometimes that happens where once they're in the water, you can pet them, things like that. But it depends on your species, and obviously you have to make sure the water temperature is fine. Because I know
that makes sense, because everything need water at the end of the day. Maybe some don't, but most of them need water.
Right. Even like my Russian tortoises, every so often they're gonna, because they have water. They get water through their food, but sometimes that nice warm soak just helps their shell, helps them move everything. Things like that. I don't know. It's just, there's just something about
water helps.
Your entire environment being, that certain temperature. Yeah, but it's just cool to see stuff like that and learn stuff like that. And I think in the past 30 years we've learned so much about keeping these animals, from the AstroTurf and red lights from the 90s to where we are now, and we still don't know how to keep some of these species alive in captivity and breed them, especially when they're like endangered, things like that. So it's just be cool to see the future of this, because there's a lot of things we can do, that reptiles can do to sort of help and research for other things, not just this industry alone. There's a lot of pharmaceutical things, a lot of medical things that we can sort of use these animals and how they react to certain environments. I believe, I don't know if it's all pythons, but I know certain their hearts will get a little bit bigger as they're eating. there's certain things that
that makes sense. Yeah.
There's certain things these animals can do that could have huge benefits in other aspects that affect our lives. I just think that's why we need people to be more educated, more knowledgeable, things like that. Because from a even just looking at stuff that venom does, we are collecting that stuff in laboratories all over the world, not just to create anti-venoms for some of these snakes that are they'll have one, but for what they do in a medical setting. This one, can we use this to sort of target a disease, things like that, cancer cells, things like that. So I mean, that's really cool, and I think that's an aspect that we have to take as an industry and a hobby, to be like, hey, we can keep these things, but also they serve this purpose here. Support USR.
It's definitely a purpose of doing it. It's just not like, it's not just, oh, I have this gecko. It's just not that. It's more to it.
Right, and I don't want to limit it. Obviously, we're all not going to be in a clinical setting and things like that.
Yeah.
But to be able to,
I'm not a scientist at all.
Right. But it's just interesting to see. We do the same thing with rodents, and we've even bred rodents to the point where now they have these issues that we're looking to try to solve, in humans.
Some people breed them too to not attack your snake, like to get the nicest ones. You have different reasons of breeding them.
Yeah, but I guess with certain rodents you can breed out aggression, which is kind of interesting. I have some that are very nice. I have some that are okay, I'm gonna kill you. But I find that if you handle them where they can't, any animal where they can't sort of harm you, it sort of puts you both in a thing. Because I know with like a dog, anything, if you grab the scruff of their neck, generally that's what their mothers would do, and it's sort of a relaxing. It sort of seems like it's
when they aggressive.
Yeah, when they're aggressive, or
just put in.
I see a lot of people that grab their dog by their collar. I have a Beagle Bulldog mix, so I just kind of grab her by her
neck,
her nape, and sort of, okay, we're going, type of thing, because she's got the loose skin. It's where mom would have picked her up from back in the day. So it's sort of
I got a lab pit that's like that. He got like loose skin, so I'll try that. He don't get that aggressive, but they had fought one time and it was crazy.
Yeah, I am dealing with a yeast, and it's almost like athlete's foot that my dog has because she's got so much loose skin. It's kind of annoying.
Allergies?
No.
Oh no, not
she does have them, but it's not from that. So she has so much loose skin as she's gotten older that it doesn't dry out. So all this stuff just sort of.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's scratching, and she can't scratch it. So then, it's sort of giving her.
I think my dog does that too, like, because he be scratching sometimes, and we have to take him to the vet, and then the vet just trying to take all our money, man, all our money.
So we have we have baby powder and a really expensive like rub-in conditioner that sort of targets the fungus and things like that, and it's just like, man, it's like. So that sort of explained a lot. It took a couple of years to figure out that it wasn't just allergies or just being overly yeasty, and it wasn't food related. It was, it's because I'm oils and all that stuff getting in there. But
it makes sense.
At that point, but she is generally itchy and stinky, and I don't notice it, and I don't notice the smell either. Unless it's bad, then I notice it. But it's sort of when the other day I was with my buddy. He goes, you smell like a pet store. I was like, what? So at that point, it's like, okay, I got to do something.
Because pet store, I ain't gonna lie. I have one like 30 minutes away. They do pretty good. Like, they have like nice reptile. It's pretty good. But then they have another one that is, you go in there, it's like, what the hell? Like, like, what y'all doing, man?
Yeah, it's like it's that smell.
It's like you never, like, when I was younger in New York, they had like a store is like for chickens, like people that want chickens, pigs, like people to eat them. You go like in, and it's like not a farm, but it's like a warehouse, and they just have cages.
Oh yeah,
with like chickens and stuff like that. That's what it smelled like, the pet store.
yeah. I mean, there's certain
I
ones
never
where it's
went
like,
there again. Yeah.
and I'm not gonna lie, I know what keeping animals smells like, but I also know what urates and shit smell like.
Nah.
And
Yeah.
it's like when you walk in and you're hit by that and or death, it's like, okay, I'm not shopping there.
Nah. Yeah.
But if it smells, sort of farmy, sort of okay, there's a smell.
Nah. Yeah.
And if you haven't kept animals or reptiles, you don't know what it is. What is?
Mhm.
I'm trying to figure out what Ken is doing. Ken, are you over on Facebook? It says you're on YouTube. Where are these emojis and stuff that you're hitting? I don't. There's emojis. Do I get hearts? I don't know. Yeah, I know you can do that on like Facebook. I don't know. We're also streaming over there. Sorry if you're there. I don't think I've seen anybody that commented, but it goes there too. I think I only like my own comments over there on Facebook. It's like, hey, kraftbrewmorphology is going live. Okay,
Like, yeah.
on the phone, Rob? Is it when you're mobile? I don't know. I usually watch on my computer. I haven't been paying too much attention, but I did see Barnes showed up, and I got to make them blue at some point.
Yeah, I'm on my laptop and the phone.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see any of them, on our end. But again, we're using a third party, so I'd assume if I was broadcasting on YouTube itself, I'd be able to see that. But yeah, it's certainly exciting. We got a little.
On mine it says the private chat you can't see none, but when you go to comments, you can see it's pretty much the chat on the comment.
Yeah. I mean, that's all I see over here. Yeah. I mean, I can post to both Facebook and YouTube, but anyway, we got a little sidetracked off the Gecko store general animal keeping, as we always do. But we're getting close to the end.
Yeah.
So normally we go about 90 minutes. We talked about the projects that you're working, how you got into this, how much you're keeping, things like that. So what I usually do with the ball python people is like, what is your dream animal to produce? Right now in leopard geckos, like if money.
So but we talking like how much like in the next year or like just right now.
What is right now? What is your goal? That big goal. Money's not an issue. What would be that goal animal you could buy, or buy?
Oh, the next animal I want to buy to put in the collection.
Yeah, either or. I mean, because we talk about the genes and stuff and ball pythons, and we can't afford like what we like. What's that ultimate project type of thing? So
yeah,
and it could be something you have now. It varies.
Yeah. So right now I would like to if I don't produce something to go with my female bell albino, I would like to buy like a nice bell albino, like a real nice one.
Yeah, like
maybe like a so in leopard geckos is like $600 is a pretty good price range for a nice. You're gonna get something that not everybody have. So,
right.
So yeah, like a nice bell around there.
All right. Yeah. So I also wanted to ask, what are your thoughts? I forget what the heck it's called. It's the really dark.
The Black Knight.
Yeah, that. What are your thoughts on?
So right now, the Black Knights, they cool. I seen some. I think the combo is gonna be real cool, but they just it's kind of still working on.
Right. It's still
the thing I don't like. It's not really exciting to me. Is kind of like Tangerine, but it's just Black Knight. It's like orange, like chase, because I used to chase like the orange, like everything orange. But so it's gonna be like everything's black.
Right. So it's one of those things where you can put a lot of stuff, but it's still ultimately going to be very dark.
Yeah, but then you also have the combos, which you got the lava. The lava I seen is a Tremper and a Black Knight, and they like lavender. They got a different pattern. They look pretty cool. So like the Black Knight's cool, but I'm not really focusing. Like I might get some in the future, but I'm not focusing on the Black Knight. More like the orange with the pattern with the yellow. That type of leopard gecko I'm going for, like a different.
Nice. So you sort of got this is where I'm going, you've already got that sort of figured out for the meantime. And
Because
that's really cool.
because I'm not gonna do like too many. Like I'm gonna have like projects with leopard geckos, but I also want to build up with my ball pythons too. Because I had to get my girlfriend comfortable. So that's why, I showed her the leopard and she loved the leopard geckos. It's like, yeah, go ahead. And then the ball pythons, now I have two, so now, so going
So
from there.
slowly evolving.
But
I mean,
both, I want to do both. I just don't want to be, oh, Tommy, he's a ball python breeder. He's a leopard gecko breeder. I'm just reptile. I just like to do my thing. Maybe some years I have this and some years I'm just keeping them, not breeding.
right, and that's one of the things that is constantly getting discussed. As far as vending goes, is like, everybody's a ball python breeder. So, one of the things to get into some of these shows now is having that diversity on your table. So you could be showing up with ball pythons, leopard geckos, isopods, something else. So I'm currently trying to figure out what my something else is for ball pythons. I mean, I have the isopods, but that doing that in volume maybe good for a show or two. If there's other things there that need bioactive stuff, like if I'm next to a frog guy, that's okay. Hey,
yeah, frogs, bioactive, isopods, geckos, a lot of the micro geckos, like the small.
I mean,
I didn't
there's
even know
certain
there
things.
was so many of them. I'm just learning about the small geckos. I might get into them too, the small ones, but they might be too tiny.
Another thing, I have a blood python. That's a male. I can get a female for that. I mean, that's something else. But again, that's cool stuff. Not as much has been done with them as ball pythons, but they get huge. Well, compared to ball python, they're still relatively short, but they get pretty big, and they have a reputation.
Yeah, you need the bigger. If you're gonna do a tub or you're gonna do a closure, it's gonna cost a little
more
more
space.
Yeah.
So it's what's an underworked colubrid maybe, or different smaller python. Something. What can I use? Systems that I'm familiar with. It's sort of okay. I can breed these in a similar environment. So I'm sort of looking for that, and something that caught my eye, but something.
Yeah, because it's kind of hard to like have like a not like a big like a huge space, but to have like different species and all of them have their right
right.
Like everything's right for them. Like you just can't treat this leopard gecko like this green and guan. You know what I'm saying? You can't have the same.
Yeah. Right. So if you're like I have say if I couldn't even do this, but if I wanted to have like a gopher snake or a bull snake, I can keep that on the lowest rack. My ball python, right? Just because it's on the end of the line, close to the floor, where it's got stuff from the crawl space coming up. That's sort of one of the issues I have with sort of expanding. It's got to be similar in climate to ball python, so then I can sort of do that type of thing. But I also don't want to mix species together because
that's why I'm not, because I ain't gonna lie, I really wanted a boa, but I'm not gonna get boas unless I could separate them, because you don't want to ball pythons and boas. There's some like the boas have some of them have viruses, so
right. And that's one thing I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to be dumb and be like, oh well, this boa or ball python struck this rat, but they didn't do anything, and I throw it into something else, and now
contaminated, stuff.
So, my ball pythons are here. Everything else is over there, generally separated. The stuff that's lives in the desert is against the exterior wall because it's cooler. So at night when it has that drop, they're fine, sort of, and it also works functionally. But, it's certainly exciting to work with multiple species. But we're at the 90-minute mark. So, are there any final words you want to say to the audience?
I just
learned.
Yeah, I just want to appreciate you for having me on, and thank you to the audience for watching and getting to know me. And I see you around at a show or something. I would have some left. I'm looking into my calculation. I should have 36 babies or something, but I'm probably keeping a lot back. But
awesome. Yeah, man. Good luck this year. I'm excited to see some of the things you're producing because it's different than ball pythons. And some of these geckos are really, really freaking cool. It's just exciting. Thanks for coming on, talking about something different than ball pythons. It's always nice to break up the normal weekly thing of we're talking about shed testing, double visuals, triple visuals. What's the next best thing we can add in? It's nice to break up that pattern. So thank you again for coming on. It's been great getting to know you more in depth, other than comments, DMs, and briefly on a panel last week. Thanks to everybody in the chat that's tuned in. I will be live Tuesday morning as usual. Right now, my topic is misinformation. I might change that. That's just a placeholder. But again, thanks everybody for tuning in. Video coming out Thursday. It's going to be part 4 of the rack rundown. I think it's Bell Complex stuff. And perfect timing because Stella is whining. With that being said, thank you. Remember to like, share, subscribe. See you next time. Tommy's information is in the description to the video, so go check out him on Instagram.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you next time.